So this is by Bellular Warcraft. What a big change from Bellular Clips, right? No one knew how bad it'd get. The Age of Mortals ruined Azeroth.
Dragons called it the Age of Mortals.
I mean, obviously, have you
Probably
seen what's going on with the real world and us mortals?
The dragons called it the Age of Mortals.
Yeah.
Probably a mistake. Everything's on fire. The
Uh-huh.
factions were ravaged. There's a giant sword that is sticking out of Silithus right now. And our big cosmic protectors are currently locked away babysitting Sargeras.
Yeah.
Leaves us a bit weak. It's been only 11 years
Probably not the
since
best.
we took over from the dragons.
We're probably not the
and in that
best
time,
shepherds
I
for
think
this
we've
star.
shown what an Age of Mortals looks like. The place is an absolute mess. There is no situation that the player characters can't walk into and kind of make worse. And that's why we need Skillshare, today's sponsor, where the first 1,000 to follow my link or use promo code Bellular Gaming will get a month of Skillshare Premium for absolutely free. Today, YouTube success, script, shoot, and edit
Marcus Brownlee
is what we're looking at. And I think, yes, unsurprisingly, one of the most influential people on the YouTube platform does actually know what he's doing. And that same ability to make tech content relatable actually does come across here, where you're going to learn a whole bunch about the video process.
I actually watched the Marcus Brownlee Skillshare video. It's cool, but it's like you need to have a lot of equipment already. Let's be real.
Tech tips included. This really breaks it down nice and simple, so I'd just say go check it out. This is the process for one of the most successful people on the YouTube platform, and there is a lot that everyone can learn. I mean, the years I would have saved if I had have just...
I can't use Marcus Brownlee as an example. Like, he is the best at what he does, like the tech stuff, the how he takes picture stuff. But like if you look at that video, you'll see how much equipment he has, and it's like you're like, yeah, like this is like years. And even though he says in the videos, he says like you don't need all this equipment, but it does make like, because he was expanding stuff like that, he got it. But it's like all you need is like X, Y, Z, whatever, right? But it's like, but what is the content that you're gonna do is completely different from what he does, right? It's extremely different. So it's like, unless you want to do like tech tips and like actual like photography, I don't know if like that's the skill, like the skill share for you. But yeah,
learned a bit
it
more.
does have cool tips, but I would say like from the few hours of information there, I think I got like maybe 10 minutes of like actual valuable information, like that is relatable, you know. It's relatable, not valuable. All the information there technically is valuable, but it's like a lot of it is not relatable, especially if you're just starting out.
More of all these resources actually exist when I was starting off, but the good news is they exist for you, so check them out. And of course in Skillshare there's so much more: photography, writing, product...
I'll tell you right now though, my experience with Skillshare, I can't say that it's overpriced, but I didn't get much value from a lot of the courses. Like the writing one is like, a lot of it is like literally common sense. Like, oh, you want to be a writer, read a lot of books. You know, it's like, great, thanks. Right? It's like, no shit, right? And it's like there's like the homework and stuff like that, which is like, yeah, that is fine, but it's like for hours, for each presenter's hours of information, you maybe get 10 to 20 minutes of actual like stuff that will help you. At least that's what I find. And it's like, I know I'm like saying stuff that I'm like as if like, oh, I'm so smart, whatever, but it's like that's not it. It's like a lot of it is really common sense. There wasn't one that, like, at least I didn't find one for like straight up programming and just goes with you step by step about like codes and stuff like that. It's like it wasn't there. There's like, I think there was one for like game design, and it was like it wasn't like a step by step. You can easily find YouTube guides of like which step you're stuck on, rather than going to Skillshare. But yeah, it's just my thing. I don't know.
productivity.
I don't have
You
a
can check all
very
that out
good
for
experience
free
Skillshare.
with
Also, canceling Skillshare is a pain in the fucking ass.
our 1-month trial. So hit up that link down below, use the Bellular Gaming promo code, and thanks to Skillshare for sponsoring. Okay, let's go. The Age of Dragons lasted for 10,000 years, and in that time, they did quite a lot. They fought in the War of the Ancients, saved the Sunwell a bunch of times, protected the timelines, protected the ley lines, and 1,000 other things I'm sure we will find out about in the Dragonflight expansion. At the end of Cataclysm, the Dragonflights agreed that their duty was somehow fulfilled. Now that was a bit weird, considering they just defeated...
Damn, look at Alex Strazo. Tell me she doesn't have bigger boobs than all the other Night Elves. Blood Elves. Let's be real. And then they nerfed her in... Oh, the nerfs in Dragonflight.
Was their great purpose just to defeat another dragon that only became an antagonist because they were uplifted for their purpose? Okay, but that's not the most confusing thing that happened. The most confusing thing...
It sounded like... Nosdormu was like, yo, what the fuck? I didn't sign up for this shit. What the fuck are you taking my power for?
Is they looked at us and left us in charge. Sure, the dragons got a lot wrong. There was Deathwing and Malagos. They both went a bit mad, both tried to wipe us out. We've still got Morazon to deal with down the line, and, what, like 4 evil dragonflights now? Then there's the Well of Eternity, Sundering, Orc Invasion, Third War. Quite a lot of things happened during the Age of Dragons. But in a way, it kind of pales in comparison to our track record. We kept it off with a bang. Garrosh was war chief.
Yeah.
Unleashed the first mana bomb. Now that is the Azerothian equivalent to a nuke. And basically a sin against every dragonflight. It wiped out life, damaged the earth, and was an absolute abuse of arcane. The reds, blues, and greens really should have started to question their choice at that point. I mean, the essential component of that bomb was the focusing iris. A blue dragon artifact that the Horde stole from a clearly inadequate dragon escort. But it was too late, and we were only just getting started.
I don't know the Miss Pandaria story at all.
Bad to fight. We just went around completely wrecking the place with our faction war. The climax of that was a mortal Garrosh unleashing the heart of Yasharj, an old god. He racked the Veil and made us look like a pack of idiots in front of the August Celestials. The Veil is now healed, but we did way more damage while we were there. You see, in our infinite wisdom, we ran around the Timeless Isle. We powered up the Vision of Time, this big hourglass, like a bunch of headless chickens.
Some really cool shoulders. I don't remember these shoulders. I guess it's not a paladin. I think Bella plays a paladin, so what the fuck?
For this guy called Cairo.
Yeah, this is definitely a priest.
Who, in retrospect, maybe was a little bit suspicious. Now, a vision from that hourglass, while we were powering it up, showed us Kairos standing over the dead body of Sora Dormi, Nosdormu's consort. That's bad. Does that not show Kairos a bit of a bad guy? Why didn't we question that at the time? Oh well, we just handed over more and more power to Kairos. And he then used that to split the timeline.
Oh, that's Kairos. Okay, that's like he's not a priest, he's whatever.
And the Iron Horde to our doorstep.
I mean, you can easily blame 2 dragons for that, not just us, but yeah.
As soon as we turned up in Draenor, we freed Ner'zhul, Cho'Gall, and Terran Gore from the Iron Horde. Interesting move. They are actually 3 of the most evil names in the whole franchise.
I mean, we didn't really have much of a choice there, did we? So it's like, you know. Let's see, do we free these guys and deal with them later, or do we just let the Iron Horde keep invading?
Yeah, these were AU versions of it, but the rap sheet of the ones that we knew, it was bad enough for us to probably know better. We freed them because... Khadgar told us to? Our quest told us to? Yeah. Those, at the time, minor
No, because we need to close the portal. What do you mean? How else are you going to close the portal and stop the invasion?
Had very large consequences. But that's the whole thing of the mortals. Point us and we
I
will
mean, we
shoot.
should have brought a few engineers with us with like fucking grenades and just blow up the gate. That probably would have been better than freeing those guys. But if we did that, we would also free those guys regardless. So it doesn't really matter.
So let's do a little highlight reel of our destruction.
We have one talent.
We
Hell
sure
yeah,
can shoot at
destroying
others, but it
shit.
must have horrified the dragons when we started to shoot at each other. Our planet was bleeding from Sargeras' sword. Azeroth was super powerful, and sure, some of us had this happy Care Bear situation where we went around trying to fix it with the heart. Isn't that lovely? But of course, the powers that be, power structures that matter, the Alliance and the Horde, were a little bit more busy figuring out how to make that stuff into mass weapons of destruction. So, can you imagine anything more anti-Guardian of Azeroth than using Azeroth's blood to power our guns? To kill each other with. Sweet. The dragons had a lot to deal with at that time, and they sort of endorsed the whole Heart of Azeroth thing by empowering it. I kind of wonder what they thought, sitting there in the Chamber of the Heart with us. I don't know, maybe they thought it was time to get the band back together. But we could use, of course, our talent for good. The biggest test of the Age of Mortals was the Legion invasion. We knew that something was coming since the Burning Crusade, but we'd been so busy wrecking the place that nobody besides Rathian and Khadgar were really trying to prepare for it. And during Legion, we got a lot right. And we also kind of nearly killed the planet.
I feel like Khadgar didn't really prepare for it that well, did he?
We didn't have our hand on Sargeras' sword, but we were the guardians of the world, and we did kind of fail. The wounds stabilize, but Silithus is destroyed, and whatever's in store for the sword definitely can't be good for our planet. It's a pity none of us seem to be looking into that. And of course, even when we did win and kill Argus, turned out that actually had the humongous unintended consequences of, well, sending his soul straight to the Shadowlands so that the Arbiter could get taken out. Not necessarily our fault, but we're really getting into the whole...
That's not our fault. That's the writer's fault, okay? Like, I mean, we had to kill. Because the thing is, like, all these bad things happen because we take action, but it's like, if we didn't take action, even worse shit would happen, right?
weird realm of the jailers.
It's like, it feels like we're mitigating a bigger disaster with another disaster.
Gigabrain plan for
Then
cosmic
fixing it
domination
as we
and all
go.
the weird things that means. But of course, sometimes we're just really, really stupid. Denathrius seemed like a pretty cool guy, and he had this problem. There was a rebellion, and we could help him sort it out. And so we trapped the Accuser and got her banished to the Ember Ward. Now those rebels, of course, turn out to be the good guys, and we figured Denathrius out eventually. But he got a key part of his plan from us, the Medallion of Domination. I mean, talk about being railroaded by the game into making a bad decision, because, of course, most of us had already seen Afterlives. We kind of all knew that Denathrius was a prick, and it was pretty clear at the start of the expansion. How many times has a cunning villain gotten us to do their bidding? In Legion, we fell right into Xavius' trap.
Fair enough.
And of course, Ysera, the green aspect, was pretty much killed. There was also that time when the Horde started to help.
I mean, bro, she couldn't dodge that shit. Like, that's kind of her fault. Again, dragons are fucking poo-poo.
Sylvanas, which of course we now know means actually that they were helping the jailer. In BFA, you could straight up be a Sylvanas loyalist. Not every mortal has to be a guardian of Azeroth, but that was us quite literally helping Sylvanas destroy reality, I suppose. So that's an ultimate fail. Really, there's not been a bad guy that at least some of us haven't been desperate to help. How many people ran around gleefully with the gift of N'Zoth on their head? Even when we were warned in his warped nightmares, we kind of still thought it would be a good idea to be his agent, and I know that some of you are still Team Void. Again, nobody in the setting really questioned any of this. Curious.
Because there were no consequences. What was the consequence of having N'Zoth Eye on you? There was no consequence. Didn't do anything. Like, why wouldn't, like, whatever, it's cool, I'll put it on my head. But it's like, it didn't really do anything. It's not like not having it would have not released N'Zoth. Just us killing Yashara. Or, yeah, Yashara. Ajara. Yeah. Just us killing Ajara. Ajara. released him, so it's like it doesn't even matter if we have the thing on our head or not. Like I don't.
If the dragons knew about the gift, what would they say? Because of course N'Zoth was pretty much enemy number one for the dragons. He
Yeah,
corrupted
that's their
Deathwing,
fault.
which per the logic of Cataclysm kind of means that N'Zoth gave them their purpose? Oh man, that's weird lore. And then Ashara. The dragons told her the
Kinda.
Wall of Eternity would just be a big beacon to basically say, hey, evil people, come get us. We're very powerful, very juicy, delicious. She then doubled down and ended up summoning the Legion.
True.
Of course, then she ends up being Queen of the Naga, and we just could not help but get her the Blade of the Black Empire. Why do we do that? I think we're going to be dealing with the consequences of the Age of Mortals for a very, very long time yet. Still not over, though. So the Naga's big plan in BFA was to summon in a storm that would wipe all the land dwellers off Azeroth. What did we do in our infinite wisdom? Oh, we end up turning to Xal'atath of all people to sort it out. We made sure that she got her body, which is very nice of us, and then we got her all the relics the Naga were going to use, and of course she immediately sold us out to N'Zoth for her freedom. And she opens a portal, she says, alright, cheers, see you later, and disappears into the cosmos. We didn't take care of so many things as Guardians. Xal'atath is almost certainly going to return, and I have a feeling she's probably going to want to kill us.
Question regarding this whole video. Are our characters considered mortals though, compared to like the other characters, like the NPCs? As far as I know, the player character is not considered mortal. Like if you take Demon Hunter for example, it's canon that their spirit goes back to their body when they die, right? It's like, oh, you're so far into the fell corruption that's like your spirit doesn't die, it just goes to the ether until it finds the host again or whatever, or some shit like that Ilden told us. The other, and like all the, like your character never really dies because the spirit just goes back. Like you're not accepted in Shadowlands basically when you die. So in that regard, what we are doing as players, we are not the guardians, or it's not even the Age of Mortals for us. We're just agents of destruction basically. It's like that's what we are.
More spicy.
We're here to destroy shit.
Ashara. We also let her get off scot-free, didn't we? The source of nearly all of Azeroth's Legion-related grief. And in Ny'alotha, we just let her walk away.
Yeah, fuck it.
Just to illustrate how bad this is. She says she's done with intermediates. She's going to find the true throne of power. That means Void. Ashara literally disappeared into the cosmos to Void's true throne of power. Nothing is ever truly finished, even when we killed Xavius and finally ended the whole Emerald Nightmare thing, or so we thought. It turns out that in doing that, we actually just traipsed in and, left a little remnant of the Nightmare there, ready to just, of course, take another shot at Azeroth. Speaking of the future, we've been speculating for years that an invasion from the light was coming, and that it's going to come from AU Draenor. Yrel was just the Draenei that we saved at the beginning of Warlords of Draenor. When the Mag'har came over, though, from AU Draenor, many years had passed on their world, and Yrel had basically radicalized the Draenei into a fanatical light army that was converting everybody by the sword. Or I suppose the hammer. But there's no way we could have predicted that. Who knows, though, maybe if we just didn't show Yrel that you could sort out all your problems by killing them, it would have turned out a little bit better. At the very least, maybe we should have checked up on them, but I suppose nobody bothered. Even just a single moment of due diligence.
No. That was probably like Space Goats was probably like the coolest part of Legion. Overall, like if you think about it in retrospect, Legion Space Goats was probably like the coolest thing. Like when Tyrellian shows up, when we saved, Mauricia saves us, Valera saves us. All that stuff, you're like, oh man, like this is kind of cool. It didn't go anywhere, but it was kind of cool.
For almost any of these problems would have went a very long way for the mortals. But no, even the wise Khadgar basically just forgets. You know, like when the jailer said that there's something to come. He said that in the sepulchre of the first ones, right in front of us. He's literally dying, turning back into a weird shriveled raisin robot. He's dying. He says, by the way, there's a very large problem coming, everybody. Very big problem. Bye. That's what the jailer does when he dies. Nobody followed up with that. Khadgar's there. We see him later. He's just like, all right, see ya. Nobody goes and asks the other Eternals, what's going on? What was he talking about? We don't ask the Enlightened about it? I guess we look at Fareem's notes and say, oh, look at that crazy motherfucker. Maybe we'll work that out later. The mortals are bloody morons.
I mean, I agree.
I think that whatever the Chuckler talked about.
And now that the smartest mortal is going and doing dailies in the Maw, our future is bleak. Yeah.
Is something we need to prepare for, but no. You know, we really did mess up a lot more than I talked about in this video.
But just by me calling her smart doesn't mean she's actually smart. I mean, she was fooled by the jailer, but she's definitely smarter than most of the fucking other NPCs.
This is an unfair video. Maybe it's one we're just doing for the memes and the fun, but it really does bring home how I suppose hard being a guardian of Azeroth is. You can't even trust the adventurer beside you isn't actually secretly working for N'Zoth, because guess what? The whole Gift of N'Zoth plotline still hasn't paid off. Yeah, what's going on?
I was forgotten. Let's be real.
The dragons are coming back from their holiday. I mean, guys, like, dragons, I know you like booked an 11-year resort holiday or something. You really didn't want to come and intervene, but they really should have done a little bit more. So them coming back probably has got something to do with the state of Azeroth at the minute. But we're going into an expansion of hope. This is not going to be the dragons as head honchos or us mortals as head honchos. It's going to be both of us trying to defend Azeroth from whatever nasty is lurking around the corner. What is that nasty? I don't really know. We don't know what the final villain of this expansion is, but hey, we did do a video pretty much trying to work it out, and I think it's a really damn good video, so do watch that one as well. Overall then, the mortals. Really, if you flip this video on its head, this is a video about some of Blizzard's storytelling style. I don't think they always do a great job of the protagonist characters, be that the cast of the game and also the role of the player character. They don't do a great job of dealing with things, of epiloguing things, of having big long conversations after things. And I think there's a really big missed opportunity there, because they kind of go sprinkle in some mystery. But they actually could get a lot of really good storytelling if they just have us go chat to NPCs and have...
The reason they're sprinkling in mysteries is because they don't know that the answer is yet and which mystery they want to solve at any point. So like the more mystery you have, the more shit you have to do later.
Some NPCs talk.
So like they're giving themselves job for the future, basically.
One of the biggest strengths about that other
game, remember that thing we said in TBC? Yeah, let's go back to it now.
Generally the characters will talk about it. They'll chew the fat on it because they're actually... well, they feel like rational agents in the world with their own dreams, hopes, desires, thoughts, focuses of interest.
I love this scene.
And because of that, they kind of work
everyone. What is Azeroth, right? Stuff along with that. I love this scene. After Shadowbringers 5.3.
9.2.5 should probably have a quick quest line going around the other Eternals, trying to work out what's going on, having a chat about it, fleshing the world out. So, pointing out that the mortals are pretty sloppy, I think we're kind of pointing out that there's maybe a few gaps in the way that this game is written, and I think Blizzard stands to gain a hell of a lot by filling those gaps in. And with that said, that's this video filled out, so thank you very much for watching. Let me know what your top disaster of the Age of Mortals is. I mean, hell, kind of forgot to mention Teldrassil burning or any of that in this video. Probably should have done that. Oh well.
I mean, it's a tree, it was bound to burn some point, right? Oh boy, sponsored by Skillshare, first 1,000 people, Problem is that it's not that you help the bad guys, the problem is half the time you have no choices in helping them, and when you do it has no impact on the story or the world. You could have the Gift of N'Zoth on you, but that never mattered ever. Same for being a Sylvanas loyalist. It's more of a failed attempt at pathetic narrative design than an RPG choice. If you can't manage to make the players implicated in the story, then don't implicate the character in the story and just make the player a problem solver that is used only when there is a big bad to kill. If everybody in the world is a moron, maybe just giving Azeroth up to the void is not such a bad idea. At least they seem to have a plan. Not really have a plan. When Deathwing died, the Age of Mortals was created. This has made a lot of people very angry and has been widely regarded as a bad move. I can understand why the dragon are like, yeah, maybe we done fucked up by leaving the world to the mortals. Maybe we should come back. This does a wonderful job of highlighting a problem I've had with WoW's writing. We get railroaded again and again into doing something obviously stupid because the game gives us no choice. If we want to play and then we get told, "Ha, you fools, you fell for our clever plan," and the writers all pat themselves on the back on tricking us with their clever plan when actually we all saw it coming a mile off. I would say, okay, so when did this start? I want to say this started in Mists of Pandaria. So I guess after Cataclysm. Because you think about it, it's like TBC, we were solving problems. Wrath of Lich King, we were solving problems. We didn't cause any problems in Wrath of Lich King. We didn't cause any problems with Cataclysm. Only after the. So I guess he makes a point. Age of Mortals. I guess so, yeah. But let's see. Could have. I feel like Cataclysm is what brought on the whole Garrosh thing. Because that's when Thrall resigned, but also a new power, like the old gods, was introduced. I don't know. I guess there was a direction shift in narrative design since about the end of, like, since Mists, basically. Well, yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, it makes sense, but also we were left with no real choices, to be honest. So yeah.